Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys checking today's video out and spending some time with me today because we got a good video. I'm going to show you guys what is my #1 lure to catch bass in the fall time of the year when the fishing's really tough. Now, we've done a lot of videos the last couple weeks on fall fishing, and a lot of the lures and techniques I talk about are for different situations, you know, rainy days, cloudy days, sunny days, all this type of stuff. But one of the things that I want to cover today is when you have those really tough fishing days where for whatever reason it's hard to get a bite, maybe it's bright out, maybe there's not much wind blowing, maybe there's a lot of fishing pressure, just when you're really struggling to get a bite. I've got one lure and I'm going to show you how to modify it and actually how to build it because it's real easy. And I can always get bit on this thing when it's tough out there. So we'll get into that in today's video. Also guys, since it is fall, a couple quick housekeeping tips pertinent to the fall time of the year. Just wanted to let you guys know that since I do have my new boat going, I'm starting up my on the water lessons again, taking bookings for that. If you guys are interested, just shoot me a private message on my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, for info. And also please check out our fall Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns that I built for Fish the Moment. These are great resources to get some good places for this fall on your fishing on your favorite lake. So I'll put the link in the description of this video for all those. Really appreciate that. Okay guys, this is what I'm going to show you how to do here. Is I'm going to show you how to build a jig setup for super tough fishing conditions. And I'll show you guys the difference between the whole thing. Now, what you want to start out with, guys, this is my Blaukat throwback jig. You guys heard me talk about this. This is the jig I'm going to show you how to modify it for tough fishing conditions. It's not going to look anything like this when we're done. Also, guys, I'll put my Tackle Warehouse Blaukat throwback jig link in the description if you guys want to get some of my jigs to build one of these for yourself, along with the other stuff I'm going to talk about here. So the first thing we're going to do, guys, what you want to get is you want to get one of the heavy throwback jigs. This is the 5/8 ounce. I would suggest the 1/2 ounce or the 5/8, either one. I don't know what it is, but the technique that I'm going to show you on the modification, it works better on a heavy jig head. 1/2 ounce, 5/8. This is the 5/8. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a pair of scissors and we're going to drastically cut back the skirt. It's going to be really, really short on here. Just a little nubby thing. Now, right off the bat, as you can see here, this immediately changed the profile of the jig. Notice the difference. Now, guys, this is living rubber. There's not anything like this. This is what makes my throwback jig so unique. It's not silicone, it's hand-tied living rubber, a lot more lifelike action. Look at the way that vibrates in the water. And usually I'm going to trim that weed guard back just a little bit like that. So basically trim it back to where your strands are even with the bottom of the hook. And another thing, when you trim it, guys, see how they're not all the same length. Don't just come in here and cut it off level like that. You know, knock off a few strands to make it sort of uneven, you know, where it's sort of crazy looking. So that's the jig setup there. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take a green pumpkin zoom speed craw here. We're going to cut it back a little bit. And another thing I do is they have these tentacles on here. I usually like to pull them out. Again, I'll link all this stuff in the description of the video if you want to build you one. But I've got that speed craw cut back, and I'm going to carefully thread the speed craw in there. Usually I'll cut off about 1/2 inch because what I want to do is I want to be able to get most of this whole speed craw body on the jig head. So about a half inch or so. So basically I've got just a little tidbit like this hanging down. Actually, that's probably a little bit too long. Let me show you here again. Let me cut even a little bit more off here. So that's about how much I got cut off. You can see there's like 1.5 segments there. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you cut it off short enough where you can come through the whole body with the hook and it lays flat. Okay, so we got a little tidbit there. And then the next thing I do, and guys, this is the color here. The brown and orange is my favorite, or just the straight brown, either one. Got some chartreuse spike it dye. And I put a little chartreuse on that tail there. And here it is, guys. This right here will get you bites in tough fishing conditions. I can promise you right there. Little bitty tidbit. It's about the same size. It's about the perfect size of jig that the crawdad, perfect size as far as the crawdad size bass usually like to eat. They love to eat 2.5 to 3 inch long crawdads. So this little tidbit there is set up perfect for that. it's gonna fall pretty fast like this. Now what you wanna do, let's talk a little bit about the setup here and where you wanna fish it at. I usually got this rig, guys, even though it is a finessey jig, I still use it on my flipping stick because I can cast it and I can pitch it good. And also, you know, it's got the good hook in there, so I don't need to downsize my rod. I'll usually put it on 15 to 17 pound test Seaguar and Vizex line. And most of the time I will use 20 to 25 on my big jig, but for this, since it's more of an open water deal and I'm not gonna get hung up or anything, I just get a little bit better feel with 15 to 17. What you want to look for are channel banks and bluffs. So if you fish like down south in Florida and grass lakes, this probably isn't going to work. But if you have a lake that has any type of channel banks or bluffs, specifically if that water visibility is sort of like anything over 2.5 or 3 feet, ideally, if you gave me the perfect scenario, I'd pick like 3 to 5 foot water clarity and get on those channel banks and take that flipping stick and guys just pitch this jig right up to the bank, either a channel bank or a bluff bank, pitch it right up to the bank and work it down into, you know, anywhere between say, you know, 10 to 20 foot. You know, if the water visibility is like 5 foot or cleaner, work it down 20, 25 feet. If the water's a little bit more off colored, concentrate sort of in that 3 to 8 foot zone and just methodically go through that bank and just pitch it to the bank like that, work it down, make your next pitch maybe 3 or 4 feet in front of it, work it down. And guys, that is an excellent fall technique to catch bass in. Ideally, to get the best situation with this, here's an easy way to figure it out. You know, go to the lake that you're fishing and pick out 1 or 2 of the biggest creeks on the lake. And every creek has usually a channel side and a flat side. Go about halfway to 2/3 of the way back in the creek and start working down those channel banks. It doesn't have to be a bluff. It can be a 45-degree angle bank as long as the deep water's next to it. And just start working down through there. You don't have to have any cover. You don't have to have, you know, lay down trees are a bonus, something like that, but you don't have to have them. You can catch them just on bare rock with that as good as anything. And, you know, sometimes you can catch them on the main lake with it too. But I think the main thing with this is the size. It's the size of the jig. It's the living rubber skirt. It's the legs on here that have an added visual attractor. You guys know on my jigs, I usually like a chunk type trailer. But for this, you know, I prefer this. And it's that fast fall with that fast head. This thing gets to the bottom real quick, and when you pick it up off the bottom, it falls real quick, sort of creates that reaction strike. But if you're having a hard time catching them in the fall, you guys, get you one of these setups here that I just showed you to build it, and you'll get some bites on it for sure. It works also good if you have those, I mean, you can catch them on any type of condition with it out there, but if you have a lake that has some type of a mixed species, like a few largemouth, a few spotted bass, a few smallmouth lake bass, it works really good with that. You can catch them on any type of lake, but it seems like to me, if you got a lake that has a few spotted bass in it mixed in with the largemouth, this technique really works good with that. So anyway, I hope it helps out, guys. It really works for me, and hope it helps you guys catch a few, and we'll talk later.